so you'll be able to review the webinar after it's over. We usually upload these to YouTube.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the IDX Broker 101 webinar for agents. My name is Luke Walsh, and today we're going to go over the IDX Broker features, and specifically those for agents. If you have any technical problems right now, just note that we are recording the webinar, so you'll be able to review that afterwards. We usually upload it to the webinars to YouTube, and then you can review them there, usually in high definition as well. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to throw those questions at me in the questions section. And if you don't want that question shared with the audience, let me know. Otherwise, I'll typically try to share that information or share the answer with the entire audience. So let's go ahead and get started. I should also add that there are some on the line that may be current IDX Broker clients. So those of you that are, please bear with me in terms of some of the sort of overview or basic features of IDX Broker that you may be familiar with. I'm going to cover those, just kind of the core, the way that IDX Broker works initially, and then we'll get into the control panel and talk a little bit about that and how that works. So the first thing I want to point out is that here we have this is an example, this is a demo example that we've set up, and what we have is a search page, right? This is a system links page. So this is one of the links that we provide you. This page is available as a page link, and just as this page is available as a page link, all of these are links that you can put into your website. Okay, so these links you place in your website up in your navigation. You can use a WordPress plugin. We have a WordPress plugin that allows you to pull those links in and then link out directly to the pages that match your site. Now what we do here is we've taken, if I were to take this as, let's say this weren't an account yet and we didn't have any design for it, this would just be a simple, very simple form. It wouldn't have any styling or anything like that. What we do is we take the design from your website and we wrap it around the actual forms and the links and pages and so on. And so we create this entire search engine search experience for you with just a single wrapper. We call it the wrapper, and it's essentially your HTML and CSS and images and so on wrapped around all the pages. Now I'll get into the templates and some of the options that you have there, as well as just very briefly into customization and how that works. Many of you may not customize that much, and you may just choose a template. You could choose our default that we give you out of the box, or you can go in and select from a bunch of different templates and then style those up. Many of you that style them up typically will have a designer that knows CSS and can make some of those changes. But out of the box, it's designed, the product is designed so that you have a nice clean map search, and all of the rules are applied. The disclaimers are all in the proper place, and so on. So we definitely try to deliver that out of the box experience so that you have a very clean experience, and the people visiting your website get that as well. So let's start out. Actually, back up here a little bit now that I've covered kind of the overview of how IDX Broker works and the overall way that our wrapper works and so on, and get into the dashboard here. So the dashboard is when you get your credentials, typically after the MLS has approved your website for IDX Broker, and that can take anywhere from 3 to 14 days depending on the MLS. And note that also, I'll point you to the coverage page at the end of the webinar, but note that some of the MLSs will charge a pass-through fee, or we charge a pass-through fee on behalf of the MLS because we're getting charged a vendor fee, or the MLS may charge their own fee directly to you. So you would always want to pay attention to those details on the sign-up form. It's fairly important. Many of them don't, however, and some of them we can set up on the same day. So we can get your account credentials right away. You're never charged until we get that approval from the MLS. So you won't be billed after you sign up, immediately after you sign up. So here we have the dashboard, and what we have here is this account has a couple of different feeds attached to it. So we have Central Oregon RETs, and then we also have RMLS, and any alert or any information that we need to share about those two specific MLSs, those alerts will show up in the dashboard. And so anytime you log in, this is the first place you're going to go, and that's what you'll see. Now here we have down here we have the leads, and you can see your leads here, and you can see some of the page views on your IDX pages, and so on. You can drag and drop these around. You can customize the dashboard as you like. Okay, so I've shown you the dashboard, and what I'm actually going to move to is I'm going to go straight into lead management. And so we'll go from lead management. What we have here is a lead registration preference setting that allows you to capture leads, and this is probably one of the most critical pieces for you as an agent, and really for you in just getting an IDX set up on your website. Is what am I going to do in terms of lead registration? How do I set things up optimally so that I'm getting the most leads? Now, a lot of people will leave that information just as is or wide open. Some of them some of you may decide to lock it down tight. There's a wide range of strategies there. What I would recommend is that you really try just start with whatever you're hearing in your local market is working, and and then work from there and try some things. Just go through trial and error. And with this page on lead registration preferences, you can do that. So here we have, for instance, lead registration on photo galleries. We also have some recommendations ourselves. So we don't do this by default for all clients, but we do recommend this, and we put this in the knowledge base. Request on photo gallery, and that will just, what happens is if somebody goes to that photo gallery page, they're going to get a redirected to your sign-up form. Now they'll be able to bypass it, and I'll show you that form in a minute, but they'll be able to bypass it and then move on. But this request kind of just will spur them to enter personal information, and that way you have them in the system as a lead at that point. The other thing is registering on the details pages. So do you want to request the registration on the details page? Now, a lot of people will set this at a high number. I've heard people recommend even 1 or 2 on the request on this page. So in other words, if somebody goes to a details page on the first details, or after the first details page, so the second details page, essentially they'll get redirected to that sign-up form. Of course, they'll be able to redirect, click away from that sign-up form and still see the properties, but that details page is probably a critical piece of information to them, and so by requesting that they register but giving them the ability to bypass that, you're creating a kind of a wall there, but you're not forcing them off your site altogether. And that's one of the issues with forcing the user, is that sometimes that can just feel heavy-handed to the end user, and so they may end up just bouncing off of your site. What I would recommend that you do is if you're going to get into the lead management, lead capture piece of this, make sure that you get in your wrapper, you have Google Analytics set up so that you can see the results of the bounce rates and so on for certain pages, and also for your IDX pages. And that typically is something that when we build your wrapper, or your designer, if you work with one of our developer partners, the designer will put the Google Analytics information in the wrapper by default. So you usually don't have to do anything to make that happen, but in some cases you may want to. For instance, if you have two separate accounts, you want 2 separate accounts, one for your IDX pages, or 2 separate Google Analytics accounts, one for IDX pages and one for your main home page. So anyway, this is we'll start out here with 1, and then I'll go down here. There's some other levels of customization that you can do here. I don't have time to get into all of these on one webinar. That would be a whole entire webinar just on lead management. I will say that lead syndication is available to top producers. So any of you that are using a CRM, using top producer CRM specifically, you can hit yes here, and then log into top producer and choose from the drop-down IDX Broker, and then just enter the username and password there that's provided. And then that will push everything out automatically to Top Producer CRM. Our lead management tools are not built to set up emails in advance or CRM capabilities in that regard. They're built specifically around IDX and specifically around the email updates, which I'll get into in a minute as well. In terms of other CRMs that we work with, Top Producer is really the only CRM that we have integrated right now, but there are ways to add or connect with other CRMs. In the account management page, a lot of the CRMs will have a email parsing tool, and so if you set yourself up as on the primary email address here, if you change that primary email address to be that CRM email address, in some cases your CRM may be able to parse that information. I know that some have used property base in the past. That's a Salesforce CRM, and we also have in our developer partner page. If you visit that page, you'll see, and if you don't have access to that page, we can send that to you if you reply back to the webinar's email. We can get you the link to that, and that includes several CRMs that have actually integrated with our web services, and so they're Quicksilver Leads is a good example, and again, there's some other ones that have integrated that that are. If you subscribe to their services, everything's going to get automatically pushed into the CRM. So to answer that question, and a very good question there. So lead management. So before I get into lead management, what I'll actually do is get into the form and the sign-up form itself, because I think this is critical. This entire experience is critical. So if I go here and let's say I viewed a property, and then I get redirected to this page. This is a sign-up form. Obviously, doesn't have much any additional fields that can be customized, but you can customize these fields, and you can add whatever you want. You can add international phone numbers. You can add whatever you'd like. So I'm going to go in here and just type in my email address, and in this case, I've set it up so that in the demo account, it's not requiring a password. And now I would recommend that because in most cases, the end user is, the more roadblocks you put in place, the less likely they are to sign up. And all you really want is this information here, so you can start sending them emails. So if I come in here, I sign up, and it'll send me to a page. This page can actually be customized that then says, go back, verify the email address. And what that does is that verification will tell, basically, encourages them to go back and confirm that they are a valid email address, and that just helps you with spam and prevents that spam from loading up in the lead management box, which we typically don't have a problem with, but it does kind of help with that. So so here now I've logged in, or I've come in and I've signed up, and and I'm viewing a property here. So this is the property I wanted to see. So I get in here, and at this point now I can save this property, so I can go here and click Save. Now my property has been saved. So if I go to my saved properties, I can see it right there. Okay. Now, if I want I don't have any saved searches here yet. So, but I do want to receive some email updates. So I'm going to go here and just click on Search. Now I can save any kind of search that I want as a end user here. So I'm on your site. I'm browsing around. I've created an account, so you have my information. And now I just want to find, I want to find properties in a specific area. And I want to make sure that anytime there's a new property within my price range, I'm going to get an update. So I come in here, and in this case we have two MLSs attached, so you'll see two of the same properties. But say I come in here and I like this search, so I save it, and now my search is saved. So what happens now is that as soon as I validate this account, as soon as I validate the account, click on the email, I will start getting email updates from this search. Now there's another way to validate the emails, and that is through the panel itself, and you can do that. So if you come in here and you go into Manage Leads, okay, here's my name. Oh, it looks like I'm not verified. This person, as me as the agent, I want to make sure they're verified. So I want to make sure that they start getting those email updates right away. So I come in here and I just click on that link. So now they're verified. Okay, so I've overwritten the verification so that the end user they don't have to go in and let's say for some reason the email verification email went out to their spam folder, or they complain that they just never got it. You can come into the system and just click on verified, and they're all set. So now they're going to start getting those emails. Now that I have a saved search, I'll get email updates every single day. Now the great thing about those email updates, and I don't have a particular email update to show you today, but I'll tell you that the email update will actually take your wrapper design and then essentially send that whole entire page in the email update. So you keep that branding messaging in that email update, and it's really helpful in terms of just ongoing branding and with really rich useful information to the end user because and your clients, because they're getting property updates from you that are really just have a lot of detail. They can come in here and look at the detail. They can, once they land on the page and click on the page, they'll have that information. So let's say I go here and I click next property. Now I don't have unfortunately because I don't have the email update history here. It typically takes a day or so, depending on how broad the search is, to get the email update out. Here you would see a list of the properties that I clicked on. So if I get an email update and I click on, as a client, and your client, I click on that email update, it'll show up right here in a drop-down. You just expand it, and you'll see all the properties that I've looked at. So you'll know what I'm looking at, and that's really useful too, because it tells you what the person is doing and what they're looking for and what they want. Now the other thing it gives you is you can also at any time come into the traffic history, and it's linked in through lead management, and you can come in and view the traffic history for me. Okay, so you can say just come back and take a look at whatever I've clicked on as a lead. So this is really helpful as well. So both the traffic history and the links or the clicks from the email updates. So I do have a couple questions here I'll address, and I'll just pause here since this is a good place to pause and address some of these questions. So we have one question is, can I create a custom wrapper for the email updates? And the answer is yes. So under page wrappers, under customize and page wrappers, there's an area called lead pages. Okay, it's sort of hidden in here. If I had my if we could do it all over again, it would be right up here because it's such a useful tool. But once you know where it is, you can find it. And so if you go here, lead pages, email updates, here's where you can go in and you can update the entire wrapper, right? So you can take your existing wrapper, copy it in here. You can create a whole new wrapper, do whatever you'd like to do there. So and then once you've done that, you can actually send yourself a preview. So you can send yourself a preview of that email, and that's helpful in terms of just giving you a way to review that email and make sure that it's polished before it starts going out. So and then the other question is create an email signature. Yes, you can definitely put the email signature in I would put it in the email updates footer code, so you could build that into the footer code itself. And then, yep, so we'll move on here now. And I am getting a couple questions here about IDX Broker Platinum. IDX Broker Platinum is actually in beta, completely separate product. And this webinar will not cover Platinum for those of you that are on it. And that there is another webinar this afternoon. If you're curious, there's a webinar this afternoon, although I believe it's for developer partners only. So if you're interested in becoming a developer partner or are a developer partner and would like to learn more, that's available. Just reply to webinars@idxbroker.com and we'll get that link out to you. And then, again, like I said, Platinum is in beta right now, completely separate product, and I won't be covering that today at this time. So go back to the dashboard, and I'll just go through some of the other features here fairly quickly, and make sure that I want to make sure I have enough time for everything. Traffic stats. Obviously, you have all the traffic stats, and then once a lead is signed up, you have all their traffic stats as well. Account notes are just any internal notes that we've added to the account. Notices, as I said before, just dashboard type notices. Those will show up here. And all of the older notices. Here's just your contact information. So if your contact information changes, you can update that here. This area here is for us only, and so for IDX, IDX MLS coordinators to change the company name on your account. If you change companies or for whatever reason need to change this, you would need to email us to update that information. So, but all the other information can be changed as needed. If you change your designer info, you would add that here, or just if you need to add designer info, you can do that here. Billing info, this is where you would update your credit card information, and then you can also pull invoices. A lot of people don't know this. You can go in here and you can pull all of the entire history of your invoices. So domain control is a I do have another question here about lead management. So I will go back. For those of you that are asking the questions about lead management, there's a lot to it, and I'll definitely go back to covering the rest of the questions and make sure that I've covered everything, because it's a very robust system. So domain control, we have the standard domain that we give you, which is on idxco.com. And then what we recommend is that you set up a custom subdomain. And so this is fairly easy to do. We have a knowledge base article that talks about how to do it. And you can create either www as your custom subdomain. That's for fairly advanced users. Most of you would probably want to use something like search. Or listings. Or something along those lines, and then your website.com. Once you've set that up and you follow the instructions to set that up, typically it's very easy to do in GoDaddy. Takes about a minute once you've logged in. It can take a little while to populate, so it may not take a minute to populate. As we say here, it takes 24 to 48 hours for that new subdomain to work. Then you turn this on, the custom subdomain, and then those links start working. And what happens is all the links in this page links area change to the custom subdomain. Okay, so all of your links now have are for all intents and purposes are hosted on, even though they're hosted with us. We're doing a rewrite to make it seem as if they're hosted directly on your subdomain, and so you get on that subdomain, you get all the credit for whatever you've got on the IDX pages. So for those of you familiar with SEO and kind of how that works, again, if you have any questions about SEO, I'll cover a little bit of that once we get into the SEO topic. But there's a lot to cover there as well. So throw those questions at me as needed. But this is now the page links area. So this is the area where you come in and you can pull any links that you'd like. You've got the user sign up form here. This is now I'm logged in as a lead, so I don't see it. But if I were to log out and then go here to this sign up form, see, I get that sign up form. So you can link to this sign up form from anything, any page or any. You could create a little image and say sign up now for the listing manager account, and and then have people go there. The other thing you have is you have a few pages here that are kind of hidden to some people. So not everyone knows what to do with some of these links, or they're not familiar. They don't even know they're there. One of them is a sitemap. So the sitemap is really useful because all these rich crawlable links are available, and this is all data updated every day from the MLS. All these links, for instance, Wallowa County here. We have Wallowa County, Oregon results. This has the keyword Wallowa, county search. Now all this is hard-coded in the system, so we can't change that, but your subdomain would be in the URL as well. And if you put this sitemap link in your footer, you're going to have some of these pages crawled by the search engines. So I would recommend that you add the sitemap, the crawlable sitemap. Now it's not the same thing as an XML sitemap that you would submit into Google Webmaster Tools. That's completely different. And anyone curious about that, I can take that offline and help you out with that. But we don't actually provide that XML feed right now. But the sitemap, the user sitemap here is just about as crawlable by the search engine. So, and the other thing you have is search by city. So you can put, you have search by city, by MLS, broken down by MLS, and here you can you have the same thing. It's each city link has a city name, and it's broken down by price, and all of these great links that are helpful in terms of getting crawled. Now, I'll get into the custom links a little bit later. Those are even more valuable to you from an SEO standpoint, and I'll show you why that is. So here we have, some of the standard links are up at the top. So you have map search. This is your map search link, your address search. All of these links are at the top, including any, if you have multiple MLSs, each advanced search link for the multiple MLSs. So go here. And then for those of you, some of you have questions, and I'm not able to answer those right away. Just note that I'll be able to answer those after the webinar. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm not ignoring you completely. It is some of these questions are coming fairly quickly, and I want to make sure that I get you the correct answer. So I'll be sure to do that. So change password, you can do that here. My preferences. Now my preferences this is a very big page. There's a lot here. Now what I'm going to focus on here is what's important. Okay. So for most of you, you're going to want to set up a minimum price, maximum price for different prop types. If you specialize in a prop type, you'll want to do that. Specify min max, or maybe set min and then set max at a very high number. The other thing you can do is you can rename the prop type. So we have some system prop types that we use that we map the MLSs to, especially and this is for clients with multiple MLSs. And so you can rename the prop type there. So so this page, as I said, there's a lot here. Don't get too don't be too concerned with every single element of this. The important thing is that you focus on certain things like city list tools. Now this is the big one. You're going to want to, on the front end page, on the basic search page, you'll want to be able to focus on certain cities, right? Or zip codes or what have you. So here you can choose your cities, okay? You can come in and from RMLS you can choose, I can choose Appleton, and I can move that up or down and then save the settings, choose where it's going to be, save the settings. And now if I go back to this page and I refresh it, then Appleton will show up there. So, that's a very important feature in the preferences page is the city. That's the city list tools, and so that's probably the second most important part. Results page maps, we typically turn those on by default, so I'll show you that. So here we have results page. This is a results page map. So by default, this may be off, but it looks nice to have it on. So we try to send out most accounts with this on, but if it's not on, I would recommend that you turn it on. So some various map options here. You can change the center location for your map. Again, a lot of these things you're just not going to need to be concerned about. You'll probably just want to set up your lead capture and and then take it from there and try to do some things on the lead capture side to ensure that you're getting a lot of leads. But this is what IDX Broker really excels in, is creating a kind of initial site for you that then can be customized later and gives you a tremendous amount of options later once you've been in the system for a while. So again, those of you that jump in and just look at this page and say, wow, there's so much here, I don't know where to start, don't be too concerned about it. You don't need to modify all of this stuff to make it work. So, and then here we have, let's scroll down. Again, see, I can leave all of these options. We've tried to create most of these defaults so that you don't have to make changes to them. But if, let's say I want the mortgage calculator to have a little bit of a different, default price, different down payment, and then I want to show this amortization, I can make that change here. One thing that's probably going to be important, this is another, again, there's a couple things that are important. One is the city list, which I showed you earlier. This is as important or maybe more important. And put your email address in here as a from address, so that actually it's helpful because any mailings that go out will then come back to that email address. The other thing is that the carbon copy address is the carbon copy to you. You're being carbon copied on on a summary of the daily emails that go out. So this way you can keep track of the emails without even having to log in. So this makes things even simpler for you. So once you fill this in and then just leave it as summary of daily mailings, you'll get that information automatically. So and then probably the third most important, and depending on your perspective, maybe the first most important, is getting the client logo in there. So you want to get your logo up there. And if you have trouble with it, if you're a retail account, you have trouble with it, you can send us an email and we'll try to help you out with getting that right size for the logo. But the logo will make sure that ensures that all the featured listings show your logo next to the listings. So. And then you don't need to do any custom image there. We have one by default, only if you wanted to, if you chose to. So, here you have a couple other options. You have Walk Score as an option and Microsoft as an option. Now, we actually have just upgraded Walk Score to the premium Walk Score. So this is a feature that you may want to take advantage of. Is you can turn this on, and then Walk Score will show up, and it has some of the minor premium features that are available in Walk Score in that map widget. And then I think by default it's set to none. So on the details page, you may want to have a page, and I'll show you. This page doesn't show the map, but I'll show you. I can show you that that image later. So here we have conversion tracking, and with conversion tracking, we have. Let's say you have AdWords and you have an AdWords campaign. This is for those of you that may be doing your own SEM or search engine marketing, or if you have client accounts. Let's say you're a developer and you do this. You can track all those ad campaigns here, the conversion tracking code area, and then anytime that a form is filled out, this tracking code will get triggered when that happens. So, and then I have a couple questions here. You know what? I'll wait until the very end here. We're almost at the end of this page, and I'll address some of these questions publicly. So, share this is a useful feature. So, what that does is go close some of these windows. So, let's say on the property page, on the property detail page, you want to share, or you want people to be able to share their properties. They can post the property directly to Facebook, or you could even do it with your own listings. And it'll show the listing information, and it'll link back to this details page on your website. So it'll show it'll choose one of the images from this property page. And the other thing it does is if you get a share this key, you go to their site and you get a publisher key, it should track all those shares. So you'll have information about how often things are shared and so on. So a little social media integration there. And then the SEO options. Now this is, again, another thing that we've set by default. You don't need to make a change to it unless you really want to modify things, tweak things, and you can make that change here. We have things, let's say you want, boy, I'd love to have subdivision in my title text. Title text is key to the search engines and indexing. So let's say you want that. You can come in here, copy, and then just enter. Put that there, and now forgot a bracket. Subdivision will now show up automatically in that details page. So if I save the changes, and then I go back to this page, and I'll refresh it, and I'll inspect the element. And for those of you that are somewhat technical, this is Firebug that I'm using, and it's a great tool for just looking at HTML and CSS, and you can even test out CSS if you want, but you don't. Again, you don't need this. I'm just using this to demonstrate what happens here. So we have, in this case we have, unfortunately, the subdivision doesn't appear to be mapped, but this shows the listing ID and, and the address and then county. And if you go back here, go back to this page, go county, listing address, listing ID, and then the display name at the end. So that title tag is very important to the search engines, and so that's a good SEO. That's an important SEO feature. Again, it's already set up by default, so you don't need to do a whole lot to make that happen. Okay, so now that I'm done with this page, and really the main topics for this page. I'll try to address some of your questions. Actually, I have a question here about the range of prices. And can you leave the range of prices open? Absolutely. You can definitely just leave these blank, or you can leave this blank. So you can just save that with nothing in it. So you can definitely do that. And then with multiple MLS, some of these I may have to address after the fact because they're somewhat technical. Can I plug IDX into a WordPress site? Absolutely. So the way it works with WordPress and the WordPress plugin is that our plugin will actually pull all the links that I showed you. Back to that page. The plugin will pull all these links into your WordPress site and just simply link out to your IDX broker pages. So once you set up that custom subdomain, which we recommend that you do, you create that subdomain, then you go in and into your WordPress plugin and you'll enter the CID that we provided you and the password and the subdomain, and then it will automatically pull in all that information. Now the other thing it pulls in are some of the standard widgets. So you have all these widgets that you can pull in as well, and that are set up by default, and those will show up in the widgets tab in WordPress. And so you can drag and drop those widgets into your sidebar, and and then style them up from there if you'd like. The other thing you can do is you can actually create. Let's say I want a custom showcase, a very specific custom showcase. So I want one for Aloha, Oregon, and for this price range. Now I can take this script and I can, if I'm a WordPress user, I can go in and go into the HTML widget in WordPress, just the plain HTML widget, copy the script in there, and and it'll show up. So the showcase will show up in my sidebar. I could also change, I could change the number of rows, number of columns, or the other thing I could do is I could take, 3 rows, 3 columns, and then run this again, and I could copy this into a post in WordPress. So let's say I have a post about Aloha, Oregon, and I want to talk about it in WordPress. I would just type my text about Aloha, and then below it would be a whole bunch of listings sorted by most expensive to least, starting at 1 million. And all of those listings would show up below the post. So you can add this really rich content to the post if you start playing around with these widgets, and especially if you're working in WordPress, or even if you're working outside of WordPress and you just have a site that allows you to do that. So, and then I have a question here about custom photos and Canada. So regarding Canada, we don't cover Canada right now in IDX Broker. You can talk to one of our developer partners about. Looks like I have some feedback that I've lost sound. Okay, so it may just be for one person, but let me know. Let me know if that happens for more than one. So in terms of Canada, Canada is not available. Good, loud and clear. Good. So Canada is not available in IDX Broker, but it is available in IDX Broker Platinum Beta. And as I said, you can contact one of our developers. You can contact us about getting that list. And those developer partners are the only ones that have access to that beta and to the Canadian market at the moment. So, yes, and we do cover Toronto. Again, that's through the developer partners. So it's covered. It's covered in Platinum or with Platinum, and there's a note on that Toronto page that is clear about that, the fact that it's only available in the beta, the Platinum beta. So now that you've created this widget, as I said, you can copy this and put this in a post. You can do the same with a slideshow. So here we have a slideshow. Let me show you an example. So here we have a slideshow. This is an example of just the standard slideshow. This is going to take the featured properties. So whatever featured properties I have, and it'll rotate through those featured properties. Now I can make all kinds of changes to the slideshow, right? And all I have to do, I don't have to change the script at all. I leave the script like that. I could copy that into WordPress widget, or I could just copy it into my site somewhere in my sidebar, and then make changes back here on this page, and it will automatically be reflected on the front page of the site. or wherever I have it. Now the other thing is if you have a designer, the designer can obviously come in here and really just design that well, design that up and polish it up nicely. So, another question here about the recording. Yes, it is a lot to absorb. That's what we're proud of. That fact, we've tried to build an integrated IDX that does a lot of things for many people. And we've taken a lot of client requests over the years, and we've embedded that into the product, and we continue to do that with IDX Broker. So the answer is yes. The webinar is definitely recorded. You can review it on your own time, and there's also a great knowledge base available as well. So you can do a search there if you have any questions about it. So from here, I'll take you to the templates, and I want to just show you. We don't have a lot of time to go over every single, as I said, every single feature, but I want to show you the template tool and just some of the options available to you. So let's say you widen your website, you get a slightly wider page design, and you don't like the original design that we set up for you, or maybe you want your designer to take a different style of page and design it up for you or style it up for you. One of our developer partners, you could definitely do that. Just come in here and say, hey, I took a look at home basic search. I really like that one. Or a lot of people like the IDX steps because it has that 1, 2, 3 steps and then search and then you can save. Now, actually, that reminds me. There's one page that I didn't cover here on page links that's pretty important for a lot of people, and that is the saved updates. So this is a great form because what this does is this actually takes if you link to this form, it takes your visitor, once they click search, they could do advanced search too, and they click next step, well, there's the sign up form, right? So the next step after the sign up form is to save their search. So they don't actually have to go back and save the search once they've logged in. It saves the search for them. So this is a really great tool, and it has helped a lot of people get some high quality leads and clients. So anyway, I just wanted to cover that briefly, and then we'll go back here to the form. So this form is sort of like designed like that, but that would be this form would not apply to that. This would be just to your basic search and some of the other forms. The map search, you can have the lighter map search or the darker one here. Results, you have a lot of people may choose we have a lot of the classifieds as a somewhat popular page, so you can come in here and choose classifieds, and it's a nice clean look. There's some other clean looks here as well. Home basic is fairly popular as well, and this is under, for those of you with questions about that, so this is under customize. Go under customize and templates. And for those of you that just for the record, those of you that may not be able to follow along, or some of you may already have accounts, you may be following along. If you'd like to follow along, you certainly can. You can just log into the IDX Broker demo at idxbroker.com/demo, and then you can click on the tab and kind of take a look at things there, and then we'll follow up with you and see if you have any questions about it. But this is under customize and templates. So here we have the details page, and we have a classic with gallery. This is a nice polished page. So you can choose any one of any one of these templates and apply them to your site. So from here we'll go HTML wrapper. I won't cover the wrapper too much because most of you don't need to be concerned about it. Category wrappers either. Subheaders, you may want to put in H1 tags for subheaders, so you could say, do the same here with basic search. Copy, paste, and then just type, basic search. You might put your name in there. H1 tags are fairly useful from an SEO standpoint, so it doesn't hurt to update those subheaders, but again, not a requirement. Custom CSS, also not a requirement. Again, it's if you decide that you want to customize things, you can, but out of the box, it should work just fine. custom links. Now this is an important one. This is where you generate links for custom pages basically. So if I want to come here and back to Aloha, if I want to say create a link for Aloha, Oregon, whoops, I type the information in down here, and it puts the keyword in automatically in the URL, right? So I've added the keyword to the URL just by typing here, step 2. And then as soon as I save it, it'll take me to the saved link management. So I click save, and it takes me here, right? So now I have Aloha. Okay, it's going to search Aloha. There's my custom link. There's my, whoops, apparently there are no properties in Aloha. Oh, in that, interesting, in that specific price range, I must have narrowed it down too much. Sometimes you can narrow these down too far, and that can be a problem. So let me go back here, and let me just take, I'll take this out and generate the link, and then I'll call it Aloha 2, save it, and there's my link. And so now I've got some results. There's my link. Great. Okay, so that's a results page. It's the same thing as if I performed an Aloha search on the front end of the site. But it has this URL. It's a totally separate URL. So it's a crawlable URL with nice keywords in the URL, and I can link directly to this page. Now the other thing I can do with this page is I can come in here and I can say, okay, I want to change the title, Aloha, if I can type, Aloha listings in Oregon. And then up here in the subheader, I can type, let's see, what do we have? Custom link subheader. So I'll type here, and then I can change, I'll change bold and maybe red text. So we can see what it looks like. Save it. And then I come back to my link, I hit refresh, and I should have a subheader here now, and all of this is content that I can add to this page, right? So this becomes crawlable content for this page, and the other thing you can do is you can even edit the HTML. So if I want to come in here and let's say I want to make this an H1 tag, and make that a useful title, and then below it I want very specific information for those of you familiar with HTML. If not, you can come in here and just use the WYSIWYG editor. For those of you that aren't familiar with that term, WYSIWYG means what you see is what you get. So on this form, you'll see, if I say, hey, I want to embed a video, I'll see the video on this form. So whereas if you do it in HTML, it's all HTML coding. So you can do a lot with these custom links, and then you can link to these links, and you can post about these links. You can, they're just very useful in terms of becoming rich content that's not just IDX content, but is actually including your content and your custom information. So very important part of IDX Broker, and very important feature. So we'll go here to the advanced search now, and I'll show you that all the advanced search pages can be customized. So if you have one or more MLSs, if you just have one MLS, you can still, again, you can customize it. So you can customize the layout. You can customize let's say I want short sale up here. Okay, so I've moved it, and I should be able to go here, hit refresh, F5, and there's my short sale, right? So I've changed the layout of my advanced search. The other thing I can do here is add, let's say, I'd like to have an elementary school in there. So I'll go here. It shows up at the bottom. I just drag it up here. So I have schools, and then I have elementary school. I increase the size of it a little bit, and then I come back here just to verify, although you don't have to verify because once you've set it up, you know it's going to work. So elementary school is now showing up on the advanced search page. So this page gives you a lot to work with, and again, as I said, you have these options over here that you can always add. So let's see, we have save links, we covered that. We covered a little bit of the widgets, custom search forms. This is a good one. So we have 3 different templates that you can choose from on the custom search form. And this is a form that you typically see, on the home page of the site. Somebody's put it up on the right-hand side or maybe the left-hand side, and they put a nice little image behind it, giving it a clean background. Or you just have it in the sidebar as a search, and that's this quick property search. So, and all this is, again, it's already been done for you. You have a preset templates, generate script, copy and paste, put it in your site, or give it to your designer, and you're all set. Now the other thing is that your designer, or if you work with one of our developer partners, they can come into this. They can make this form look amazing. So they can style it up. They could give it rounded borders if you wanted, things like that. You could have a custom image behind it. So those of you that really want to customize it have that capability. So that's a custom search form. Wildcard search, you just copy and paste. Just copy the HTML and paste it in, and you got your wildcard search. The featured agent doesn't really apply here. We have also a mobile application. It's called My Agent. So a question here about the quick search. The quick search is used on both Office and agent sites. A lot of people use the quick search, and I think it's designed to get people in the door, get them to search. So give them the information, a very simple form that will attract them to the IDX search and then get them going. And then another question here: where would the designer put the custom HTML? It really depends on where you want it on the page. Where do you want to put that search form, and so on. Closed listings are not available, so any sold listings are not currently available in IDX Broker. So unless they're your sold listings, and actually that's a good point. After I cover mobile, I'll make sure I cover the sold listings and how that works. So here we have the mobile app, and this is your own. You have your own app code and your own banner, and you can copy this in. I like this one a little bit better than this one, but you can copy this banner in, and once you've copied it, you copy it, click on it, and then it'll take that person to the mobile app, so they can come in here, and then essentially it'll show your header here, header information once they've entered the code, right? So once and there's also it works on the iPad as well. So once they've entered the code, you can your information gets stored in there, and the code doesn't get updated. It's actually very difficult to change the code. The person has to go in and into the settings and make changes there. So that's pretty useful in terms of giving you just a marketing tool, branding tool. You've got a little app there. Lead management. I'll show you quickly how. I'm sorry. I covered lead management. Active listings and sold listings. I only have a few minutes here, so I want to make sure I cover this. So the sold listings will show up on your sold and pending page, and those are your listings, right? These are only your sold listings. And as this one's set to pending, so it shows up. Wow, I have a lot of tabs here. I'm going to close some of these. So if I go back here and let's say I go to the sold and pending, you can see here that listing is set to pending, right? So I've got pending here. And if I wanted, let's say I know that Whitewater Lane has sold, and I know how much it's sold for. Obviously, I would because I sold it. So then I submit, and then that goes on to the sold pending page. So here I say, let's say, we'll just say it went for asking. So went 452,500. Save. Now it's sold. And I go to this page, hit refresh, and now it's on the map. The map shows up as soon as you get more than one, and then it shows that it's sold. So that's how you demonstrate. You would demonstrate your sold listings. The other thing is you can also build that into widgets. So there's a widget, the showcase or the slideshow the custom showcase or slideshow. Excuse me. Sorry. The standard showcase or slideshow could include the sold pending, so you can create the slideshow for that. So that's how that works. And then in terms of open houses or modifying the property description, if you wanted to do that, you can do that here. You can add a virtual tour link. You can add an open house date, and that will show up on the front end. And then a custom link. This is usually for, in cases where you have a PDF or you have a printable flyer, you have something you want to share with people and have, have them download and print or something along those lines. So, and that's the listings page. Now, the supplemental listings page, now this is for, let's say, just to be clear about the sold pending and how that works, when you sign up for IDX Broker, you start at, day 0, right? So any listings that are archived after day 0 will end up in the sold pending area in IDX Broker. Any listings that you sold prior to day 0 will not show up automatically in IDX Broker. So what a lot of people do is they'll come into the supplemental area and just add a property in there that may have been sold or maybe pending or for whatever reason is not currently in the MLS and hasn't been archived by IDX Broker. So so that's what that section is for, and then of course the active listings, and then if you're an agent account, if you have an agent account, and let's say you're an agent, but you also you work on a team, we do have a team package that's $10 more per month, and it allows you to have two agents. You basically get the office package, but can only have 2 bio pages, and then get all the listings for both agents showing up here, and then they would also show up on this featured page here. So all those listings would show up there. So and then it looks like I have another question here about open houses and how would that work. So we go to the featured open houses. We have an open houses search for featured. Now, I didn't set any up, so we don't have any yet. But if you have your own open houses coming up, you can link to that page, and then all those open houses would show up here on the page. So, and then any open houses that are available through the MLS, that's separate. That doesn't show up on the featured open houses page, but those would be visible on the details pages, and actually in the results as well. So people would be able to click on that open house and go, okay, I'd like more information. Now, if you wanted to hide that link on the open houses for the open houses and just feature your own open houses, you could also do that with CSS. So there is a lot that can be done with CSS if you decide that you want to go with a designer and you want to really take things to the next level. But as I said, most of these most of the retail clients that we get, they set things up, all the pages look like their site, and they're ready to go. If you work with WordPress, there are some good WordPress designers out there that can also create the site for you and then put you on a plan that's helpful, or you could just self-manage. So it's up to you in terms of what you'd like to do. I think the webinar is almost complete here. I did want to cover, there was a question, I believe it was about inactive or verification possibly, but the verification, you can force people or not force them, and then you can also have CAPTCHA on that if you have any spam issues. Again, we don't get much spam, so but I think I've covered most of the main primary issues around lead capture and so on. So with that, I will go ahead and end the webinar here, and I thank you for attending, and thank you for taking an hour out of your day to review IDX Broker and take some time to really learn the product. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reply to the original email, and the recording will be, you should have a link to the recording within the next day or so. And then any questions that I wasn't able to answer in the questions tab, I'll make sure to address, and I'll get back to you, or one of us will get back to you with an answer to that. So once again, thank you for attending, and have a great day.